What's up, agents, and welcome back to another Division video where I've just been live streaming over on Twitch, and I should have been using the Bullet King earlier this season. I don't know why I haven't. It's absolutely amazing. So don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, and let's get straight into it. Right, first of all, I'm going to show you a couple of clips from my live stream. So this is a clip here. We're just about to run into a kill squad, and we just kind of went all in. Obviously, other people are shooting them as well. But if you watch the damage numbers that I get to with tipping scales, you can see there already, you know, 2.1 mil at the top is kind of where it's at. And it really does make ease of absolutely everything. And you have a couple of options. So let me show you a couple of the things. And this bit here was at the end of the same retaliation where I was just kind of mowing down enemies for fun. Obviously, you can see my teammate is shooting them as well, but it made really easy work. Even though they were spawning from miles away, we could just slap them in like with a laser beam style. And as soon as they kind of peaked, yeah, it was absolutely no messing. And my tipping scales wasn't even hitting that hard at this point. You can see now I'm closer. You know, you crank it up to the 2 mils really, really easy. And that was the end of that. And then, one other thing before I show you the build. And then, while I was using the build, Marzi came into my Twitch chat and said, why not try smart cover? Since I'm kind of sitting in cover quite a bit. And you can watch me here now at this bit. I'm not sure if this is the precise bit, but I mow down the enemy really, really quick. The damage numbers kind of glitch out a bit. I think they do come back in a minute. But you see, in a second, I was hitting for... Well, I did hit for 2.3. That one hit for 2.2 at that point. But we added an extra 300k onto our damage when we were at the top end, which was just absolutely crazy. So, with all that said, let me show you what it was I was using. This was the build that I was using. So it's tipping scales with the full set bonuses, the new Overdogs gloves, along with some Fox's Pros. Now, there is a reason why I'm running Fox's Pros, because they give us the damage to target out of cover stat, which I think is better than speccing into anything else. Now, there is an argument that you could use a Petrov piece instead. So you could perhaps use a Petrov piece because that will give you LMG damage, but it's also going to give you more crit damage, which you're already going to be on a huge diminishing return. So having that multiplicative stat that applies to targets out of cover, it's just worth, you know, the Foxes have always been good, but you could run it either way, but I really don't see the point in bumping up your critical hit damage anymore. You might as well spec into another stat. That being said, Petrov is going to give you 10% extra weapon damage, so that is also going to be good. But there is some other options, and the reason why I chose to do the Foxes, because when we were talking to my chat, they were saying that they were using turmoils also. So if you go with these, if you want the extra damage for single target, you can go Foxes, or you can switch them out quite easily to the turmoils and just adjust the crit chance and crit damage in the build by maybe swapping a mod or one of the rerolls, and you can do that quite easily. Because what's crazy is obviously we're hitting up to around 2.3 million with the Foxes, but that essentially means when we take the Foxes off and put the turmoils on, you're still hitting for around 1 million per target, 2 million shared damage. So you start, as long as you're under control and you're not playing too up close and perfect and too up close and personal, then you still... It's an absolute beast of a build. It absolutely shreds through targets. And actually, I can show you one other clip, if I can go back to it very, very quickly. When we got to the end of the CP, this one here, before we captured this one, we did a lot of long-range shooting when I had the turmoils on. And this is when I've got the turmoils on now. And although, yes, I am showing you with team as well,
Agent in need of backup.
You can do it from distance and just absolutely shred away still. You know, at distance, I'm still doing 800k as some of them hits when they get closer. And it's just sharing out the damage. Yeah, and it's absolutely just crazy. Absolutely insane how good this build is. So yeah, I would definitely recommend the Foxes if you're going to be doing more up close and personal. Turmoils if you're going to be doing team legendaries perhaps and things like that, and you'll absolutely burn through things. What's even better is you can use the Bullet King with this as well. Now there is other options. I was using the blue screen. That was a great option. I was using the Pestilence and that wasn't so great. I didn't really feel like I got the most out of the tipping scales gear set with that, whereas blue screen and Bullet King I did. So I definitely recommend an LMG with a huge mag. So maybe if you wanted to go GR9 with steady-handed or an MK46 with steady-handed as well, that would work pretty well. But I wanted to use the Overdogs for this because, you know, they get the huge 30% amp damage to most bad guys at all the times, because generally these work really well because the hierarchy is that we get a lot of lower end enemies rather than higher end enemies. So when you do get the tier 3 enemies, kill them first and then everything else you'll get that huge 30% amp all the time. They're just really good, and obviously they come with crit chance and crit damage. My Foxes, I was just running with crit chance and damage to target out of cover. Then with the tipping scale mask, we're on crit chance, crit damage. The backpack, crit chance, double crit damage, because we want to take advantage of the buffed, because it was buffed in the PTS to the 7 stacks, which makes it probably better than any other backpack that you could possibly run. And it's same with the chest piece. The maximum from 50 to 75 is huge without running something like glass cannon, where obviously you're going to take incoming damage, which can be a bit rough when it comes to LMGs. Then we've got the holster with crit damage on. And then on the actual set itself, we're getting 30% mag size, which doesn't really count too much when you're running the Bullet King. But obviously if you're running a GR9 or another LMG or a blue screen, that's really going to increase and give you much more chance to get them stacks up. 30% LMG damage is definitely nothing to sniff at. And then we've got the throttle control, shooting build, stacks to a max of 50, which we know is now 75. Each stack provides 0.5% weapon handling and 4% critical hit damage, which is huge. We know that's going to 7 because of the backpack. And then we're going to lose 6 stacks per second. But LMGs natively suppress things. If you're in a team and they suppress it, it counts for you as well, which I think is really, really nice. Smart cover variant, obviously the one with damage to target out of cover and then just a revive hive. When I have messed around with this, I've just switched back from the turmoils. So I need to change this back to crit chance. But if I'm running it like this, 55 crit chance and 105% critical hit damage. Just remember to change one of your mods or one of your rolls to crit chance from crit damage. And yeah, it actually works really, really well. In negate, the Bullet King works really well with not losing the 6 stacks. So mine's obviously amped up to level 30 as well. So the expertise, just expect that my damage might be a little bit more if you're only 10 or 20 or so. But still, no problems keeping tipping point or tipping scale, sorry, at max with the Bullet King or the blue screen. Just really, really good. And that's probably why they kept it at 6 stacks. Because if these guns keep it up there that easy, you know, if they run the risk of these guns being way too OP if other guns are struggling. So yeah, kind of a little bit. I don't kind of like that. I think they should be able to run it with any LMG whatsoever. But yeah, really good and really nice to be using the Bullet King again. It just made life really casual and really, really easy. I was running Gunner with LMG damage just for a little bit of extra damage to target out of cover. It did get a little bit sweaty at some points doing the CP, but unbelievably because of just that 10% armor on kill, I survived. And don't forget, if you're running turmoils, you actually get double armor on kill when you every time you kill. If you kill 2 at exactly the same time, you get 20% armor on kill rather than the regular 10%, because it does actually count for 2 kills. That's going to be it for the video. Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Thank you to everyone that was watching over on Twitch and YouTube Live while I was doing this, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.